they've both been interesting to work with. And, you know, like I said, obviously Janine, I liked her work so much I married her. So I get to see it every day.
Es bastante catalogada como algo diversa porque se aborda muchos temas más sobre las competiciones de superarse entre los trabajadores, colegas, sino también me encantó porque tú participas, tú dejas que los talentos también se expresen. Por ejemplo, Milhouse es una gran actriz que es conocida como los Billion Missy. Entonces yo te quiero preguntar sobre el proceso de esa codirección y trabajar con este tipo de actrices.
So we are going to talk about this and off, and how was your experience co-directing this short film and working, because we know that it's a project that talks about searching for talent and a lot of these subjects. So tell us about this and up.
Well, you guys are going all the way back. You did your research. So this end up, we came up with that idea in 2006-07, and it was myself and a gentleman called Brian Robinson, and our idea was to make fun of the reality TV show craze that's still around, but it was really like out of control in the early 2000s in the US. I don't know how it was for you guys, but it was like, you know, it was everywhere. So we decided it would be really funny to do something about a moving company that decides they want to get in on the reality TV show craze. And they hire, but they don't have any money. So they hire, you know, a low-level production company, because honestly, we didn't have any money. So we figured that would at least make it believable that the equipment was horrible and everything. And it's about this just group of honestly degenerates that are just, it's unbelievably politically incorrect, which we did on purpose. And it was just, it was a lot of fun, but it was improv. So originally when we started, Brian was going to direct everything. And then a couple of days in, he said to me, do you want to direct the actors? Because I don't feel like I can talk to the actors, and I'll just do all the camera setups and movements and stuff like that. So I said, sure. So that was my first experience in directing. So I got to direct the actors, and he directed the setups and camera, and we both developed the story. So for every scene, we knew what the beginning was, the middle, and where the actors had to go at the end. And then everything else, they got to improv. So we did, I don't remember, I think we did 7 episodes. I don't know, 6. It's been a while. And it was a nightmare to edit. So it was all that improv and people being in different places. We spent months editing that together for hours and hours and hours and hours. So that was my first experience with directing. I loved it. I enjoyed it just as much as acting, and started to kind of feel myself moving in that direction a bit more.
And Jhon, ask me the favor, because you talk about working with actor and I'm directing actor and actresses, and he wanna know how was the experience directing Milhouse. He really loves the work of this actress, and she appears.
Janine.
Yes.
Oh, Janine, how was it to work with Janine?
Janine and Milhouse.
And Melissa? Well, I really liked working with Janine because I married her. So she's my wife now. She wasn't at the time. We were just really good friends. And I love working with Janine. I mean, we've since then written, we have 2 scripts we're currently developing. One of them we're doing a raise for, which is The Tale of Nicky Newark. And the other one is a horror suspense. And we wrote those during the pandemic. So, and Melissa, I knew from acting class, which is where I had met Janine from also. And Melissa, we worked on This End Up, Lock, Load, Love, and then Nicky Newark, the first Nicky Newark. And, you know, she was always very dedicated, had a different view about characters sometimes than I did. But that's, you know, part of being a director. is listening to what your actors are bringing to the table sometimes too. It's not just what you as the writer / director came up with. Actors can bring a lot of interesting things to the story. And with Janine, the thing I love about Janine, and it's not being biased, but you can give her a character like in Clandestine, where she plays Special Agent Scott. And on the paper, the character is very just matter of fact. And then Janine comes in and she adds all this stuff to it. It makes the character very interesting, very human, vulnerable, but edgy and intense. She has a great gift in doing that. So that's, I always know when in the remake we're doing of Nicky Newark, she's actually going to be playing the part that Melissa had played, the wife, Danielle. So Janine's going to be doing that now. Everyone's playing different roles for the most part in the remake. Because it's 10 years later, some people we're no longer working with, other people have moved on, some people have quit acting or filmmaking. So, but they've both been interesting to work with. And, like I said, obviously Janine, I liked her work so much, I married her. So I get to see it every day.
I don't know if you think that this cannot be made right now because you tell us that it's so political, incorrect, and man, the world is not ready now for this kind of movies. So, but kudos for you too, man. We feel so proud in talking to Jhon because, man, we didn't know about that you are the husband of Janine because we don't investigate on private life. So it's great to know that you are the husband, man, and she's an amazing actress. And 3, Jhon will freak out when he knew that Nicky Newark really got a remake, man. So I will translate later, but I will tell that, Jhon, creo que ya supiste, Nicky Newark va a tener remake.
Wow.
Si vas a preguntar sobre esa producción, yo sé que te traduzco después, pero ahí te dejo ese dato increíble. Yo sé que ya sabes los demás datos que hay ahí. Pues dale.
Bueno, antes de tocar esto, no hay problema, tranquilo. Antes de que hablemos de esta producción, yo quisiera preguntarle por qué, aclárame una cosa. Hay una parte en la que Low es considerada como una de las producciones más realistas que tengan que ver con las citas a ciegas. Porque, o sea, trabajar con actrices y actores relevantes, por ejemplo, tú participaste con Richard Bunday, Casey James y Megan Lee, o sea, es increíble. Además, yo te pregunto, ¿cómo es manejar la tensión? Por ejemplo, manejar como que las expresiones de las citas a ciegas a como lo es, por ejemplo, una producción que tenga que ver con un ambiente o entorno europeo, o si es algo muy americano que tenga que ver con los del sur, con los del norte. ¿Cómo diferencia ese aspecto?
Man, and talking about working, directing, amazing cast, we're going to talk now about love. And the question is, man, we know that it's about blind dates. And so how do you figure it to differentiate this from another movies or series about blind dates? Because in fact, Jhon wants to know there are differences. No? We think that in Europe, the blind date is not the same in the US, but we know that in other states it's different. I don't know, man, tell us about love.
Well, it's interesting. I don't know what it's a really good point that you brought up. I've always said the one thing we all have in common are bad dates, right? Like we all go on a bad date. But what you guys just said is totally accurate. I don't know what a blind date's like in other countries or in Europe, So it's true. But the thing that we liked about it was we felt everybody's gone on a bad date. We've all gone on something where, we felt lonely or we were hoping that could this be it in a year from now? Am I going to say I met her, or I met him or whatever, And we decided there was a business reason too why we did Lock, Load, Love. That was our old production company's first project. This was under a different one. We created Phoenix Films and we made Lock, Load, Love. And we wanted to make something that was really cheap, and we could see if this experiment of getting a bunch of creative people to work for free, because no one was getting paid, could we get all these people together to work on this project? Because we're trying to figure out. I mean, I didn't even know how to turn a camera on at that time. So I didn't know how to edit. I had to teach myself how to edit. I didn't know Photoshop. I didn't know anything when we started that. And I spent most of that production sitting there thinking, is everyone going to realize I don't know what the hell I'm doing yet? And thankfully, I guess my acting skill convinced them otherwise. So it worked out. But I took some dates. The co-writer is a gentleman called Chris Ryan, who was in several of our projects, but also played Sergeant Billman in Clandestine. And Chris is a really good writer. And we met and we talked about horrible dates that we had been on. And then we said, well, what locations do we have? Let's write the dates in the locations that we can go to. And, that was how that went. And then we edited together in a series of vignettes. And we follow these two characters, Ralph and Nina. And then by the end, the two of them meet and the final date. And it's only when they stop trying, it's only when they're finally themselves that do they find true love. So that was kind of the message behind that film. I don't like to beat people over the head with a message. I think there's enough of that nowadays. I love it when an audience, you gentlemen could watch the movie and you can walk away with, well, how does that impact my life? And that's what I really liked about Lock, Load, Love. The quality is not where I would like it to be, because film-wise and camera. But I love the heart of that film, and I think the lower budget actually sells some of the charm of it.
And man, in Colombia, blind dating totally sucks.
Yeah. What is it like? Is it?
No, man. Here is crazy. In fact, I will say something that will be controversial, but we have to say it. For us, the people from Colombia, the men, it's difficult because sometimes blind dating, man, the women, I ain't tell that, but it's true. Jhon will tell me also the same. They wanna marry people from overseas. So
really?
all the blind dating industry goes ahead to date, the overseas, the foreign. So for us, it's difficult. And man, I was remembering all my bad days. And yes, man, they only function when you was trying to find people in days.
Wow.
Yes, you are right. No, but in Colombia it's a big business. Here it's huge, man.
Yeah.
But sometimes economy doesn't work here, man. So they all go from that or go for the other direction that sometimes young men look for older women, but they can because they got more money. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. En fact, Jhon le está diciendo acá que las citas a ciegas apestan. Sí. Obviamente, o está el factor de las de tipo, las mujeres que buscan extranjeros o los hombres que buscan mujeres mayores. ¿Me vas a decir que sí o no?
No es la realidad, man.
Es la realidad. Jhon agree. Okay.
Ven, o sea, yo te pregunto algo, o sea, ¿cómo es posible que Nicky Newark no tiene tanto protagonismo? O sea, yo me enteré de repente por internet. ¿Sabe cómo me enteré de Nicky Newark? Aunque usted no me lo crea, David, por WhatsApp. Ven, Bobby Cannonoli es un tipo que todos desean, no ser como él, pero sí tener las agallas que él tiene para querer vivir bien. Yo le pregunto, si de pronto a ti te comprarían los derechos a algún streaming grande sobre la vida de Bobby Cannonoli, ¿cómo sería la diferencia de la lealtad a él, a como tú lo organizaste, a cómo sería en la actualidad? ¿Cómo te gustaría que lo plasmaran?
Sería bueno entonces preguntarle qué podemos esperar de este remake, si hay un cambio de lo que era el personaje. Ahora, Okay, this is a great question, and Smith said with the thing that we knew from you that Nicky Newark with Gary, man, Jhon loved the character of Bobby Cannonoli. Man, let's place it. No, we're not going to talk about the movie, but the character. Man, how will be or how will react Bonnie Cannonoli with the word that we live now?
Well, that's why we're remaking the movie.
Yeah.
So, Bobby is, I think, a normal human being, which are still around. We're all still here, but there's that very vocal woke cancel culture that is, out there doing some damage, and they're a very small percentage of people. I think I read it's like 10%, maybe 10%. And the funny thing is that when we made the original movie, we did the premiere. It was a packed, I think we had 250 people in the audience. Everybody was laughing. They enjoyed it. They had a great time. And when we went back and I rewrote the script, we did a script analysis with the producer we had at the time. And the person that did the script analysis came back and said the movie was racist and homophobic and went through all this litany of things. And it was a Republicans movie. It was a conservatives movie. And I said to our producer, I'm not going to pay someone $400 and have them lob grenades. They're going to have to back up what they're saying. So I'm not into that. And so I said, I'd like you to arrange a meeting. And he did. And we had a nice long 45-minute debate with this guy. And I made him, I held his feet to the fire. And I said, what is political about this movie? And he was like, well, you're making fun of the criminal justice system and the governor. I said, you realize the governor of New Jersey, when this script was originally written, was Chris Christie, which I don't know if you guys know. He's one of the most reviled political figures in New Jersey. He's a Republican. People don't like him. And when I rewrote the script, the current governor is a Democrat. So it's not about politics. It's about politicians. It's not about politics. It's not about a political party. So I told him that. He was a little triggered. And then he said how the movie was homophobic and racist. And then he brought up some of his views, which I quickly disagreed with. And then, unbeknownst to him, our producer is a gay man who's married to a black man. So after we got off the call, I said to him, hey, we obviously need to chat about this conversation. And he said, absolutely. When do you want to talk? I said, let's talk tomorrow. So we talk. And I said to him, listen, as a gay man who's married to a black man, was there anything in this script that you thought was homophobic? He said, absolutely not. I said, was there anything in it that was racist? He said, no. I gave it to my husband. He thought it was hysterical. So it made me start to think how much the world had changed in the 10 years from the first movie to this movie. And I began to realize, we're releasing a movie and a character that 10 years ago was funny, but is now it's a statement of sanity, which is that we all have to be allowed to grow and change. Bobby is a very particular character in the beginning of the movie, and by the end of the movie, he's a very different character. He's grown, he's changed, he's learned. The problem with cancel culture and the whole woke movement is you are not allowed to grow or change. You're canceled. You can't make mistakes. People have to be allowed to make mistakes. That's why we're here. We make mistakes and we grow and we change and we try to improve. So that's why I love the movie. That's why I'm excited about remaking it, because I think it's an extremely timely film. You're starting to see a lot of, I don't know how it is in Colombia, but in the United States, you're starting to see a lot of people fighting back. A lot of comedians are fighting back against the whole woke cancel culture thing. And they're starting to, say, no, we have a right to, talk about things and comment on things. That never means the destruction of other people or taking away their rights. That's not what, we're trying to do. And that's not what, good people do. And I do think I'm going to actually be doing a podcast with a group of comedians talking about the challenges of doing comedy in today's world, in today's time. I'm going to be doing that in a couple of weeks, and it's very interesting to hear their perspectives about where things are at. So I just feel it's a very timely movie right now to go out and make for a bigger budget, get some names in it so it gets noticed, and then we go from there.
The thing is that in Colombia, and I don't want to get political, but I agree. I'm not against politics. I am against politicians.
Mm-hmm.
And oh man, they are here, and I'm afraid to say that, but they tend here to give a godlike image to politics from the both sides, and that's the whole problem in this country. And we are going to elections, in fact, in 1 or 2 weeks. But going to the most beautiful part, Jhon said that, man, he also want like a Funko figure from Bobby. He really loves the character. He really even wants like an action figure of hero or something.
Of Bobby? Jhon would like an action figure of Bobby?
Funko.
A Funko figure.
Well, if we ever get them made, I'll send you one.
Wow, Jhon, que te envía unas si las tiene hechas.
Wow.
Yeah, we've never had any. We've never had any merchandise except T-shirts and mugs and stuff. But hey, you never know. You never know how things will go.
Wow, man, that will be great. Jhon dice que él tiene camisetas y mods, pero pues que un Funko le parece buena idea, pero continúa.
Pues y se me dice. Bueno, ya que él habló sobre la historia de Bobby, ya habló también de lo que la historia de Bobby, la nueva producción que viene, Clandestino, que tocó el tema de la metanfetamina. Entonces yo te quiero preguntar sobre lo que se viene en tu nueva producción, que está en preproducción, que es Descent. Ahí muestra cómo es de pronto la dura realidad de los matrimonios. Obviamente de él no vamos a hablar de eso, pero lo que sí le digo es, o sea, ¿cuál es el concepto tuyo sobre toda la historia del cine que tenga que ver sobre este concepto? ¿Qué es lo que de pronto esta producción que tú vas a hacer, que tú vas a dirigir, se diferencia de las demás? Y bueno, que nos revele futuros detalles.
Man, we know that it's in pre-production, but you can give a little bit behind from Descent, because we know that deals with very hard subjects about marriage, real life. Tell us, and what are the differences or the elements that differentiate this production from the others?
What makes A Tale of Nicky Newark different from the first one?
Descent, the one that is in pre-production. Descent.
Yeah, Tale of Nicky Newark is the name of the new version of Nicky Newark, and what I did was I went back. There's two things. The first thing was we were in a film festival, and the guy who was in charge, the film had gotten to the film festival, got nominated for best screenplay. Didn't win, but it got nominated. And the director of the film festival, afterwards, I was talking to him, and he was thanking him for us, accepting us into the festival and so on and so forth. And he said to me, you made the movie for $2,000, which was not a lot. And he was like, I loved it. It was hysterical. It was great. For $50,000, nobody could have ignored this movie. And I never forgot that, because to me, I was thinking like, oh man, if we had 50,000, maybe this movie could have made a much larger impact than it did and been seen by more people. So I never forgot that. And the other thing is, that was the first full-length feature I ever wrote. So there was a lot of just scenes that were way too long. They just went on and talk, conversation, talking, and it gets very boring with some of those scenes. At the time, I'm like, well, I'm making my movie. You know, this is what I want to make, and I want the scenes to be 15 minutes long with two people sitting on a park bench talking. You know, Ed Burns does it, Kevin Smith does it. Why can't I? It doesn't work for this movie. So I went back, I changed scenes, I made scenes shorter, I cut out. There was an acting agent, Bobby's agent. That character's totally out of the movie. There's an acting teacher who he goes to, who was in prison to get real acting lessons, and that character is out of the movie. All those scenes are out of the movie. I replaced it with a scene where Bobby goes to a real acting teacher and has a very meaningful experience in the class. So I try to condense the movie, make it shorter, make it make more sense, and be a little bit clearer on what the character's journey is, as opposed to before. There was a lot of stuff kind of coming in and out. And then I try to make it more timely. You know, like there's certain words that you don't use now that 10 years ago you could use. Bobby's going to use them anyway. You know, and at one point he says one of the words, and the girl looks at him like, you know, horrified that he said it, and his attitude is like, well, we don't say that word anymore because like 2 years ago we did, but now we don't. You know, so it's kind of like, you know, it's this guy trying to understand his world better now, whereas before he was just trying to understand what he wanted to do with his life. Now he's trying to understand where the world is going and how to function in that world, which is, I think, how a lot of us feel in general. It's how do I function in a world that sometimes feels like it's just insane? And, you know, I think the interesting thing is what I was going to say before. You know, I think the woke PC cancel culture thing, like most things, they started from a good place, which was equality, diversity. Everybody has a right to live and breathe and experience life. We're all put here for a reason. We all love our families, right? We all want to have a good day. We don't want to get sick. We want our loved ones to be healthy. And some people felt that wasn't happening for certain people, that certain people were being, you know, minimalized, or, you know, there were things, they didn't have the rights that everybody else had. And they're probably correct. And in a lot of cases, they were correct. But the problem is, I call it the Frankenstein monster. If you keep pumping that up, that monster in time will attack everybody, including its creator. So I feel like that's what's happened with the whole woke mob and cancel culture and, you know, PC movement, is it now attacks everybody. You know, everyone's getting hit and, you know, canceled, and now you're starting to see a pushback. You know, people are like, hey, you don't cancel me. I'm not going to have you cancel me. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And I think that's good. You know, I'm happy people like Harvey Weinstein got canceled because they were bad people. They're not good folks. And I met him years ago. He was very polite to me. We crashed a party of his, but you know, you could tell he wasn't a nice guy. I didn't have a moment where I felt like, geez, you know, Harvey's really misunderstood. No, I didn't feel like a nice guy. So, you know, I think, you know, I like, what I like about this movie is I feel for the majority of people with the remake, they're going to be able to really identify with Bobby and laugh. And through the laughter, maybe we can start having some actual conversations.
Que se viene de adelanto, y invita a ver a la gente a que pronto esté la historia de Nicky Newark, donde lo podemos ver más adelante.
Okay, David, as a final, the camera is yours, man. Send a hi to the channel, to Colombia, to wherever you want. Tell your social media so people can follow you. And please, if there is some project that you want people to be alert, stay close, tell it, man. For us, congratulations, man.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. It was a lot of fun. And, you know, I think as far as our projects, our most current project, Clandestine, which is about the war on drugs, You can see that on Paramount Plus and iTunes, Google Play, Popcorn Flicks, although it's edited. That film, we released it in 2016. I'm still very proud of it. I think it turned out really well. And our current film, like I was mentioning, The Tale of Nicky Newark, we're raising money for. It's on WeFunder, which is an equity crowdfund, which is sanctioned by the SEC, which for anybody in the U.S. knows that's the government agency that oversees investments. And so that's a legit investment. And anyone that wants can go to that. Just punch in Tale of Nicky Newark at wefunder.com, or you can do it on Google and everything will come up there. And then folks can follow me on David LaRosa Film on Instagram. I don't do Twitter. So, but yeah, I got off of it years ago. I was like, enough is enough. But yeah, that's basically where we're at.
Es una gran oportunidad, men. Gracias, espero la hayas disfrutado. No sé, coméntale a David que para nosotros es grande.
Digo que sí la disfrutó, pero le diré, Jhon said that for since an honor, thanks for the opportunity, man. We hope you enjoy it. We know that you did because you tell me that you will have fun. And no, man, always welcome here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. I definitely enjoyed myself and I appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Oh,
nice to meet you.
Bye-bye. God bless you.
All right. Bye-bye.